Welcome to the Neurodivergent Experience podcast, a podcast where we share the lived experiences of neurodivergent people to help create a better understanding for our community.
Join us every week as we bring you honest, raw, and inspiring conversations with specialists, advocates, and individuals who know exactly what it's like to live the neurodivergent experience.
I'm Jordan James, a neurodivergent specialist, father of neurodivergent children, husband to a neurodivergent wife, and author of The Autistic Experience, and I'm joined by my best friend.
I'm Simon Scott. I'm an autistic ADHD broadcaster, actor, and advocate. Join us as we journey into unraveling the neurodivergent experience.
I bought a Labubu.
He did. Did you get a Lafufu or a Labubu?
I'm not, you have to flick the face and you'll find out.
Ah, yes, of course.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Welcome back to the Neurodivergent Experience. Yes, I couldn't wait. I was like, yeah, I bought the Lafubu, the Bufu. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go and listen to the hot topic for last week. It is probably one of the funniest we've done.
Yes, it was an absolute hilarious edit, but also what I think is hilarious in that is you go, right, guys, don't follow trends. Don't be a sheeple. I've bought two.
I told you I didn't follow the trend. I just fell in love with them because they had cute faces. So, yeah, I bought it because I wanted to, not because other people bought one. Because I'm cool like that. Now, more people will buy them because Jordan James owns one.
Oh.
And that's
It's a vicious cycle, isn't it?
Works.
It's such a vicious cycle. So if you're currently having to sell your home to move your Labubus, give Jordan a call because he might take him off you.
No, yeah. What?
I really hope people have listened to the Friday episode because they're going to be like, what the fuck is this about? Hello, everybody.
Dude, 90% of our episodes are what the fuck are they talking about?
That's at least
new.
we're aware.
That is nothing new.
Oh,
so,
man.
Okay, you sexy man. What did you do this week?
Okay, it's not like we've recorded with each other 3 times already this week, so we'll all pretend that we haven't
spent a
seen
lot
each
of
other
time
since
together.
Yesterday or the day before. What have I been doing this week? To be honest, mate, I'm working like a dog at the moment. I've got a lot of work, but I'm really enjoying it. So it's like that sort of like balance of I'm working from home and I get to do like high-end office stuff, but be in my gym jams, which is kind of a juxtaposition. So my brain is like incredibly busy, but my body is incredibly stagnant. And I'm really like getting used to this sort of balance of being like, oh, I haven't left the chair in like 7 hours. And when I get up, I'm like, and the day's gone. So I'm just trying to like get used to this sort of like new routine. And because I
should get a walking desk.
See, I've got a walking pad. It just doesn't currently fit under my desk because
you can get mini
I'm
ones.
Still in like boxes and everything. It's too late. I've got it now. I'm not getting another one. So I'm just waiting to get a new desk. I'm going to get like an orthopedic chair so that I can actually get out of it because I feel like the fucking emperor at the moment. I'm just like, good, hand in your work. And that's just, my poor spine is just in bits. But all part of the fun, mate. It's all part of the fun, isn't it? Oh,
no. Well, apart from buying a Labubu, I joined a new gym.
Oh, that's what I should do.
Yeah, well, I wasn't going to the old one enough, and a new gym opened up. It's one of those really cool 24-hour ones. You use an app to open the doors up, and it's very, very cool, right? It's where all the trendy people go. Whereas where the gym where I go, it's like most of the equipment is taken up by either kids from the local school or like really like elderly pensioners who are like trying to keep fit and stuff. And I haven't got a problem with any of that, but I do have a problem with the fact that they're always, including the pensioners, on their phones on the machines. That's what does my head in. I'm standing there waiting to use the machine, and in between sets, they're just on their phone. And if you're just like changing your track you're listening to, that's fine. But I can see them, and they're scrolling, they're bloody doom scrolling, and I'm standing there looking at them. And I'm not ashamed. I will stare, right, like not at the women because that's rude and you shouldn't do that. But at the right in their face.
But the men, fair game.
Oh yes, screw those men. I mean, don't. Where's this
I know
going?
I know what you meant. I don't know if everybody that's listening does, but I know what you meant.
I feel like I haven't slept and I'm wording words. So yeah, like that's so I joined a new gym and it's very cool. It's very, very spacious, very open. Everyone's smiling. Everyone's like, hey. And I'm like, oh, cool.
God.
Like there's like huge guys with like what would you call it? When you floss for vests, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
And they're just like, and I'm
you've
like,
not anyone stand over you yet, being like, easy white chocolate.
So becoming in the showers.
Like, I don't want you to melt. Just come your map up and now. Why not? This is what I always get really like intimidated at gyms because I know for a fact that my form's terrible, and then I'm exercising and I look up and there's somebody that's like I'm like the width of their leg.
See, let me tell you about this, right? So massive guys, like tiny vests, but they're all like smiling and they're very intimidating looking.
I mean, if I looked like that, I'd smile as well.
But like they're everyone's just really polite, really nice, and there's like wording up on the walls that's like be nice and gym etiquette, and everyone's really, really cool, and it's a really nice vibe. I get water. I pay £4 a month and I get unlimited flavored water from this machine. I just fill my bottle up.
Wow, the future is now, isn't it?
It's so cool because I've never seen anyone else use this machine. So when I go to it, I feel like I'm like the rich guy with paying that £4 extra a month. It's like, yeah, I've got a premium edition, mate. I'm like gold platinum standard. I've got the water.
Is your water flavored?
Yeah. Everyone's going to the bog standard tasteless water next to me. I'm filling up with the machine. I've got peach, I've got mango, I've got coconut water.
Are you doing that thing where you like get a bit of everything in one and make like a little cocktail?
Yeah. Just yeah. Oh God,
I can just see you walking up to the machine, just like just like press a bit.
So it's like, yeah, you might have arms the size of Dwayne the Rock Johnson, but mate, I've got flavored water. So who's the real winner?
See, they're sipping on your mango and peach, and you're just like, who's the real man around here?
Yeah. Well, I don't know if that makes me manly, but at the same time, I'm a man, so I guess it
depends
does.
Who you ask, doesn't it? Depends who you ask.
Being confident in yourself and being a kind person, that's what makes me a man.
Right, should we get on with today's episode? Yeah, shall we? We'll wrap it up there. That's the most fun we'll ever have.
Bye, everyone.
Now, we've got a brilliant episode here for you today, and really excited to speak to our guest. Shall we introduce her, Jordan? Should we bring her in?
You can, because my words have gone.
Oh, well, this will be fun. Okay, so Ellie's like, what the fuck have I agreed to?
What have I done?
What's the story of my life, Ellie? So the voice that you're hearing there is the dulcet tones of Ellie Pavone. She's an aspiring writer and artist. She's also a mother to an ND 11-year-old son whom they home educate. And she's also autistic ADHD combined with a ADHD with suspected, definitely, autism in a husband. Hi, Ellie. Thanks for joining us today.
Hello. Thank you for having me on.
Oh, no, it's an absolute pleasure. So listeners will know a little while ago we put an outreach because this is the neurodivergent experience and Jordan and I can only cover so much. And we want to hear from you that, there are so many different perspectives out there. There's the female perspective that obviously Jordan and I can talk about, but not with any authenticity. So it's much better to hear from you guys. And Ellie was one of the many people who will be joining us and is joining us that reached out on Jordan's Facebook page, which is Jordan James, the Autistic Photographer. Please go and check it out if you haven't.
It's the best page in the world ever.
It's the bestest page to ever exist. If you are a fan of Puffing's Pooing, get in line because
it's a beautiful page. It's the greatest page. In fact, in the history of all pages.
I walked onto this page and went, wow, what a great page.
What a great page. It's the greatest page.
Beautiful page.
In the history of pages, this is the only page you should ever see.
Went poop. He went poop. The puffin, he went poop. I put a tariff on the puffin. I went, no more poop for you, tariff boy. Anyway, I'm not working on a Trump impression at all. So yeah, Ellie, thank you for joining this fucking shit show. But it's not. Unfortunately, after reading your email, it's not the only shit show that you've been dealing with.
No, it is not.
So you claim PIP, don't you?
I do.
And
Yeah,
what is it that you're claiming PIP for?
So I, at the time of applying for PIP, I had diagnosed fibromyalgia, ADHD. That was it. That was all I had diagnosed at that point. And then throughout the process, so from the first call to nearly 18 months later in the tribunal getting PIP, I was diagnosed with autism and MS. And it's interesting because there was a lot of confusion as to my symptoms, because a lot of it came under the umbrella of the brain fog and kind of just neurodivergent funk to be able to function. And I put it down to that for about a year before I actually went and said, there's something else wrong. So yeah, it took a long time. Sorry, that was a bit of a tangent.
Oh, no, absolutely not. This is the place for tangents, trust me.
Good.
So most people have no idea how grueling the PIP process can be. Can you talk us through your journey from applying to, the toll it took to finally winning at tribunal? Yeah.
So I actually made a mistake when I said that I got my autism diagnosis after. I had actually just gained it, because the reason I know is because I'd accessed an autism charity, a local one to us, to have help in the process of applying and appealing, because I kind of knew immediately that I would have to appeal, because even at that stage I knew that it was something like 80% of applications are refused initially. So once I'd got help from this charity and I went to see them and I spoke to them, we filled out all the paperwork together. It was brilliant, because being faced with a big wad of paperwork as a neurodivergent person that's only just found out that they're neurodivergent as well. So I was 34 and I'd only known about ADHD for a year, had only been on medication for a year. So really I was still kind of settling into understanding how I actually worked and what my strengths and weaknesses were and how to manage that and stuff. In the meantime, my physical health was just nosediving because of the stress load of things. So having their help was amazing, to go through all the paperwork together and to, basically form a rebuttal to everything that they'd said no to. Mandatory reconsideration is the first step when they say no. And I heard that within 3 months of applying. They basically said no, but you get to do this kind of, I think it was just a phone call to go over the questions that the initial questions that they're just saying no to. And there it goes. My thoughts just disappeared off a cliff. Hang on.
Oh, no,
that's right.
You're
I was
okay.
going to ask,
don't worry.
Was it my huge problem with this situation? One, there's no compassion from these people. Like, it just
there isn't.
They don't give a shit.
There's zero compassion.
Like, I swear this job is just for people who went to Third Reich training school. Like, I like the lack of empathy, considering we're the ones that are supposed to have a lack of empathy, which is bullshit.
I know, it's ridiculous. What a myth that is.
Yeah, and it's like the irony of the lack of empathy towards us is outstanding. But it's the ableism.
It's awful.
They're like, here's a ridiculously complicated form that most people would struggle, but somebody who is in who should be filling in this form,
who's in crisis, essentially, because most people are in crisis when they reach the point where they're like, right, I need help to live.
Well, it's a little bit like being sent a form to gain access to a country. Like, if you go to America, you have to get like a visa or temporary visa, whatever. Imagine that being sent, but in hieroglyphics. And they said, you have to fill this in if you want to come into this country. And I'm like, but I don't speak hieroglyphics. And they're like, good luck with that. Have fun.
And if you're still figuring out your neurodivergence as well, how can you say what accommodations you need if you don't know yet?
It's a nightmare. And if I didn't have their help to go through it all, I really don't think I would have managed to do the whole thing at all.
Which just proves the fact that these forms are a joke, and whoever's writing them is a dick.
There's no room for dynamic disability in any of the assessment process. Nothing. So dynamic disability being some days I need a crutch to walk, other days I don't. So therefore, this gives the public this kind of view that, well, she was fine last week.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. No, I know exactly what you mean.
That's really, really horrible to have to live with that. But
disability is a day-to-day thing. It can change because
not even, sometimes
a bad
it's
day,
hour.
environmental. Yeah, hourly.
Like an hour.
Literally. No, you are absolutely spot on, Ellie. It's a really, really great point. And it is something I think most people think of disability as linear, as in this is the disabled
you get
thing.
Sick,
you have to
and then you get disabled.
Yeah.
And then you just get given medicine and support. But you're just left to your own devices, a lot of it.
Yeah.
It's like, here's your diagnosis. And these are the numbers that you can ring if you need help, but they'll just send you around in circles. It's fine. Yeah. The charity was brilliant because they gave me an opportunity to look through all the things that they'd refused and basically point by point go through and say, you did not read this woman's application, because if you had, you would have awarded points here and here and here. And it just went on and on and on. And that is why I realized, like, if I didn't have her help, that insider knowledge was so helpful to me, like how to word things so that it's not that this is the difficulty about talking about this, because a lot of people have come back at me and said, well, you're gaming the system if you're wording things a certain way. But the problem is they don't understand that the system is geared to only listen to certain words or completely ignore you if they hear certain words.
It's what I call shenanigans. So there's a South Park episode where all the boys, they go to this carnival, and they've got a game. They have to throw a ball through these little hoops.
Okay.
But the ball doesn't fit. Even if you pushed it, it doesn't fit.
Brilliant.
So it's stacked in the favour. It's stacked. It's impossible unless unless you have a smaller ball. But if you only have the ball that the carnival worker gives you or the government gives you, you'll never win. You'll never win their game because what they've given you is bullshit. It doesn't work. So of course you have to play a game back, because it's politics in general, isn't it? It's just a game.
Yeah, absolutely.
You've got to play the game of life. Literally, that's like the real game of life. And
it's just a little unfair when you aren't given the rules as a bit of a heads up, though, isn't it?
Or the privileges to access things that you need to actually have a good, thriving, happy, healthy life.
Or dice just to move.
The court networks, they're not equal for everyone at all. So.
Yeah, so you went through the process of obviously taking it to tribunal. What was the sort of result that came from that?
Just for context, this was during the period of 2021. So we were post-COVID, kind of, but really the legal process was so much slower than it had been before. So I'm told. It was already slow, but it was even slower at that point as well. And also personally, the context of getting to the point of tribunal just after we moved house for the second time in a year, because we'd been made homeless by our landlord twice.
Jesus.
Yeah. And it was just the worst time to have to go through this, because my husband was really stressed at work, had to take time off work because of it. We'd had to leave the town that we grew up in. All our family and friends were behind. For me, the place we lived at was a tonic, because it was in the middle of the countryside. I lived on the back of an agricultural field. It was stunning, but it was lonely, and I had no friends and no family. And going through this stuff, and also having had COVID pretty badly, my husband was hospitalised. Both my parents were hospitalised with it at the time as well. And because we didn't live near them, I was trying to help what was going on with my parents, because they're both in their 70s. It was just so much stress. And then to move again, and I think within about a year, I think, from moving here. Yes, July 2023 was my tribunal, and I applied for PIP in December 2021. I had my award back paid to the point where I'd applied, at least, which helped us pay off lots of debt and have a vaguely nice year. But after that, it barely covers everything. And just seeing that now when it comes to renewal next year, because of how they want to change the awarding system, the points system, I will not be eligible if they get away with what they want to do by changing the allocation of points. It's gross.
Yeah, we'll get onto that in short time after the break. But I just want to ask the question, Ellie. When your disability is questioned, especially when it's not always visible, from a place of authority, we're essentially gatekeeping a support that isn't, like a pleasure of support. You're not getting money. You're not getting pocket money. It's how does that make you feel when you're just not being believed?
It feels deliberate. It feels that we are being deliberately not believed by medical professionals or people in positions of power, because we're becoming the collateral for this, whatever the hell they want to do to the world, because it feels like it. We're just collateral. They'll just take all the money that we need to live and just pour it into things like war. It makes me so angry and feel completely worthless, really.
Yeah, it makes me feel helpless. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
that's part of why we do what we do. And it's part of why I get so upset when I do get upset. I get so upset because I feel it. Like what you're saying, being denied something that is your right to get, it feels so, you feel so weak, and it's not okay, considering this is a system that is built to help people, and all it's doing is hindering. It's making our lives harder just to get something that we're entitled to. And for anyone listening, if you don't think that some people are entitled to PIP, that's your opinion. That's on you. But there are so many people that are entitled to it, genuinely, just as every single person with a child is allowed child benefit.
Yeah, exactly.
Everybody who has a child can claim child benefit. So everybody who has a disability should be entitled to claim PIP, because we are at a disadvantage on the surface. So in order to get equality, we have to have equity. PIP, for a lot of people, not me personally, but for a lot of people, PIP is that equity. And you are denying someone a stool to stand on so they can see over the wall while they're next to the incredibly tall person. And if anyone disagrees with that, you can come on the podcast and have a chat with me.
Yeah, come into the Thunderdome, I dare
you.
Before we go to a break, guys, I just thought it would be a good one to just put out to the room. What would be good, compassionate healthcare support from the PIP system? What would that look like to both of you two?
Informed assessments, like people that actually know what you're talking about when you talk about chronic illness or dynamic disability, not being met with blank, like you can't do that. Like it's ableist, and there's no room for it. If you're talking to people about something that you need to help you live, to do with illnesses that you have really no control over a lot of the time, because illness will just come and get you. It's not about what the choices you make in life. A lot of the time it just happens because of the world we live in. And when you're trying to convey to somebody what it's like to live with these illnesses and try and still have a decent level of living, like happiness and all the things that you picture in a life when you have a family, holidays, doing nice things together, making memories, all of that stuff becomes impossible when all of your costs are being spent on health care things and stuff to support your wellness, just to be met with compassion and intelligence in terms of knowing what you're saying to them, not disbelief and almost ridicule and kind of like minimizing language and, oh, it can't be that bad kind of stuff. It's just, there's no place for it.
Yeah. I mean, for me, in order for the correct care to be given, there needs to be better training. There needs to be a better level of compassion. It is not a factory. We are people. We're not products. And I think most of all, I think they need consultants of not disability consultants, but individual disability consultants. They say, okay, we need somebody who's lived through that experience to go over these forms, to make sure that each person is getting the help they need because the consultant has lived through that. And that's where you get the real compassion. Because I personally, if I was deciding it for somebody with MS, I have no idea about MS. I don't even have anyone in my life that has MS.
Neither did I before I had it.
There you go. I personally, if I had that in front of me, I'd say I'm not qualified to judge this person whether they need PIP or not. That's
exactly
me.
It.
So anybody who thinks they can judge, they need to rethink their purpose in life.
My neurologist said to me the other day, after having a really crappy appointment with a physiotherapist that basically dismissed everything I was saying, not to do with MS. I'm trying to discover whether I have EDS. I don't know if you know anything about that.
Yeah.
Connective tissues. And my neurologist said, look, I would never be so arrogant to assume that what is seen on a scan means that what you're telling me in our appointment is not true. So the fact that you're in pain and you've gone to see someone and they've said, well, it's fine on your scan, is useless.
Oh, I've had
so
that.
To hear that
times.
From a neurologist say to me, okay, they've said that, but you still need to pursue this, and this. Don't listen to that. Was a really affirming moment, because I don't think I've had many medical professionals say, okay, what they've said there is really unhelpful. So in terms of like the medical, like healthcare, compassionate healthcare, because I think I answered the question more to do with like how it's met when you're doing the assessment for PIP. But in terms of compassionate healthcare, women's health needs funding, essentially. That is my main problem, is that there is so much about especially the millennial generation and Gen X as well. We're all falling apart physically. The women especially. Our reproductive health is shot because of years of contraception, and antidepressants have messed up all of our balances and stuff. There needs to be, like you say, Jordan, better training, better understanding of these things. But more importantly, just a belief that the people that are coming in to say these things and share these experiences, because there's millions of us, we're not doing it to get attention. We're pointing out the fact that this generation, we've been medicated for things we shouldn't have been. I'm one of them, from 13 to late 20s, and antidepressants when I should not have been on them because I had ADHD.
So as am I.
I was put on ADHD meds, and I've never needed antidepressants ever since. I'm not saying that's going to work for everyone, but it has for me, and it's changed a huge amount in my life. So there needs to be, I don't know, it's kind of like just an awareness. And I know that there is an awareness that's growing within even the GP community in the UK, because I've seen quite a lot of content creators that are GPs in the UK that are speaking about all this stuff, about this sort of umbrella of symptoms, especially within the neurodivergent community, of EDS and autoimmune disease and, all these things. Why is there not early intervention? Because I look back through my medical history and I can see every single point that goes, oh, that looks like EDS, that looks like EDS, oh, that's not right.
Unfortunately, Ellie, it's because neurodivergent people are bottom-up processors. We bake the facts and build the picture rather than seeing the picture and then try and use facts to back it up. I completely agree, Ellen. I think they're great points. And when we come back from this short break, we'll be discussing these proposed changes to PIP and what concerns we have. So don't go anywhere.
This episode of the Neurodivergent Experience is brought to you by RTN Mental Health Solutions. With up to a 5-year waiting list for autism and ADHD assessments via the NHS, and that's even if you get a referral from your GP, getting an assessment in the UK has never been harder. So if you're like me and can't wait anymore, going private may be the best option for you. RTN offers online assessments for kids aged 6 right up to adults. To make it more accessible, RTN can offer payment plans up to 5 months. You can access their remote services from the comfort of your home anywhere in the UK, and RTN offers group and one-to-one counselling, a private route to access ADHD medication following the assessment, and will even fight for you if your GP doesn't accept the results. So if you live in the UK and can't wait to get an assessment, go to www.rtnmentalhealthsolutions.com and use the discount code RTN23, making it even more affordable for all of our listeners to get an autism and ADHD assessment.
Hello and welcome back to the Neurodivergent Experience, where I'm joined by my best friend, Simon Scott, and Ellie Pavone. Politics, policy, and PIP. I know from the email that you sent us, you said that the cuts scare the hell out of you, in your words. I'd imagine that that's true for a lot of people. What specifically about the proposed PIP changes are you most concerned about?
The eligibility. So the points awarding system, instead of across the board of a number of daily living points, them being added up, which is what the current system is. So needing help with preparing food, needing reminders to eat, needing help with dressing or washing, all things that sometimes I do need help with. A lot of the time I need help with those things, or assistance or reminders. And they do, in the current system, they award points for those things, but they want to change it so that you have to have at least 4 in one area of that. And I think it's something like 85% of PIP awardees, or people that claimants, that's it, at the moment would not be eligible if they change this the way they want to, which means all of those people, some of which work as well, because this is not a work related, not that you know that from the media's portrayal of it, but PIP has nothing to do with work. People work and still claim PIP as well because it helps them get to work. It's upsetting to think that that lifeline might be ripped away. And I know that there are millions of people.
How much is PIP? Like, because I've never got it, so I don't know how much
it depends on how the rate that you get. Okay. I am on standard rate, which is around 400 or just under 500. I think it's gone up a little bit. But that goes on, for me personally, it's supplements, other medicines that I can't get on the NHS, and therapies.
No, I understand that you want to justify it, but I'll have to say you
don't need to. I know this is the problem. I think that's an interesting observation.
You absolutely don't need to justify why you need help because it's no one else's fucking business.
That's the thing. Thank you for saying that, because I think it's become a knee-jerk reaction to try and justify it.
And I completely get that, because I've been in that situation where people have like questioned, like, why do you need that? And I'm like, what do you need it for?
What are you spending it on?
Well, I had this whole thing during COVID where I tried to wear masks, right? I would do my best, but I would start getting panic attacks because I nearly drowned as a kid. Like I nearly died in a swimming pool because a floaty, one of those giant floaties where loads of kids were on,
went over you?
Yeah, it got turned over and I got stuck underneath it.
God, that's interesting. I had a similar experience with a little boat when I was a kid.
And it was only because my sister, I passed out, my sister pulled me out and save my life. So I get panic attacks when I'm being like swimming. I can swim fine. Like that doesn't bother me. But as soon as something's over my mouth and covering my mouth and restricting my breathing, anyway,
trigger,
see, and see, I'm doing it now. I'm saying, well, this is my story.
Yeah, you're reading,
this is why I couldn't do it.
Yeah, this is that fighting ableism, isn't it? It's just instantly you just feel like you need to over-explain yourself.
And instead of just saying, well, I struggle with breathing, and it being, I felt like I have to give the whole background to it, and it's bullshit. So in the end, if anybody ever said anything, I said, oh, it's because of Nunya, and they go,
Nunya.
What's Nunya? I go, none your fucking business, and they go, oh, that's a bit rude. I'm like, you don't even know me, and you're just walking up and asking me questions that have nothing to do with you. And you think I'm the rude one?
Yeah.
Go and look in the mirror, you prick.
Quite a lot.
This is the hypocrisy of it all.
Yeah, everyone wants to judge everyone way before they have a look at themselves. Whereas I will look at myself, I will break down every part of me and go, okay, am I better than anyone else? And the answer is absolutely. No, the answer is... The answer isn't no, I'm freaking not. And I have no right to judge people if somebody's overweight. I have no idea why they're overweight, and I'm never going to judge it.
That's a big one, yeah.
If someone's in a wheelchair and then I see them get up and walk, I'm not going to judge that. I'm going to go, oh, you're faking it. It's like, well, no, because some people need... I had my bad back. I had a slip... get there in the end. I had a slip disc, and... I couldn't walk for very far, but I tried. I would try and walk as far as I could.
Absolutely.
Because I had to, because it was good for me. And then I'd have to sit down, and then I'd have to be in a wheelchair. And then I'd get up and I'd try and walk. It's not because I'm faking it. It's because I'm actually trying my absolute bloody best.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, this is the thing that sort of like frustrates me, is because I applied for PIP. And I don't have these sorts of struggles, but then in my head I'm going, well, why did I apply? Because I haven't got it as bad as...
You're internally ableism.
Yeah, because
internal ableism, yeah.
When you're, even when you were sort of like going, oh, this is what the money's on. If I had gotten PIP, I would have got a gym membership and supplements.
Yeah, that's another thing that I'd done with some of the money at one point, yeah.
Yeah, but then you think about... The sort of like, but it's a horrible sort of knee-jerk reaction to just do, isn't it? But even when you were describing like the sort of money, I went to Tesco yesterday and did a weekly shop with my partner.
It's a drop in the ocean.
It's a fucking drop in the ocean.
It is a drop in the ocean.
And you're like, suddenly, the cost of everything is going up. Like, this is whether you're listening
really fucked us.
Yeah, it's a betrayal. It's a betrayal. But like, if you're listening to this in the US, you're not alone, folks. And there are people that are listening all over the world that have different levels of currency and system. And I know in the Western world we are very, very lucky with the sort of opportunities that we get. But it feels like a freaking magician's trick, because I get told that we have all of these opportunities. I get told that we have all of this support system. I honestly, Ellie, you are probably the first person I have met that had got PIP. Because every single person that I speak to, I have a friend who has fibromyalgia and MS and literally physically walks with a stick 9 times out of 10. And they went, but you can get to the office? How bad can it be? And it's like, fuck off. Like, what's the point of having these systems and having these opportunities if no one can get hold of them?
I swear, you just need to be a head in a jar.
Yeah, I feel like I'm
just
sitting down and it's like, show me your papers, tell me what I want to know, the lamps in your eye, just because trying to go, hi, I've got some issues. And you must walk away from it going, well, it can't be that bad.
You do. You do end up. I mean, I've had periods of time where I've with my MS, it's much worse in the winter when it's cold. I can't really leave the house much at all. So I have to try and cram so much in the summer. But even the heat gets too much. So it's like trying to balance all of it. It's horrible to try and explain it to people when they see you out enjoying yourself doing something. How could you possibly be disabled if you're doing that?
Is joy not meant to be accessible?
Apparently, it seems to be not allowed.
I've had this. Okay, so I liken this to, you've got a cold, right? And you don't feel well, you feel a bit crappy, you know that you can't do a day's work. You can't handle the drive, you can't handle sitting in the office, you don't want to give other people your cold. You're literally told to stay home if you have the flu. You shouldn't be going to the office spreading your germs, right?
Sticky fingers.
But then you go, well, I shouldn't really go outside for a walk in the woods because, you know, what if somebody saw me? Then they'd say I'm not sick. I'm like, actually, going for a walk in the woods when you're sick is the perfect thing to do, as long as it's not like freezing cold, crappy weather. But like, it's a nice sunny day. You should be going out and getting fresh air, getting mental health benefits from, you know, which actually then do heal you.
It does help.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's like you don't have. It's like, yeah, you rang up sick because you couldn't go into an office. You didn't. If your job was walking through woods all day, you wouldn't have called up sick.
No, exactly.
But my wife has had that. She's been very, very ill. She couldn't work as a dentist nurse because that's a very demanding job. You shouldn't be having a flu around people whose mouths are wide open in front of you.
Got your hands
Doesn't take a genius to work that out.
Like, duh. And then I said to her, oh, why don't we go, you know, for a nice walk? And she was like, oh, yeah, but what if somebody I work with might see me? Or she said, because I was going to take some pictures. And she said, oh, don't post that we went on a walk today in case somebody sees it on Facebook. And I'm like, why? Like, like, if you're sick, you're not chained to a bed. Like, that's not how that works. And I definitely think it's just because, like, there are some people that would say, oh, you don't look sick to me. Fuck off.
I get that all the time.
Why do people just think that you're like Charlie's granddad in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory? It's like, oh, you've been in bed for 20 years, but oh, the chocolate factory's open. Let's go on down. Like,
it does feel a bit like that we're living in Charlie Bucket's timeline at the moment.
Yeah, it is. It really does. Well, we'll have one more question just before we go to the break. I want to know, Ellie, if you're sat across from a policymaker, somebody who is designing what is happening with PIP, you know, no cameras, no PR, no microphone, no bullshit. What would you want them to understand about living with MS and trying to navigate the system as it is?
This is difficult. I think it's very hard to communicate with anybody that comes in those positions of power. For them to comprehend it is difficult because they've never lived it. They come with handouts and privilege that we can't even dream of. I don't know. It would be, maybe they should just kind of try and live amongst some of us just for a week, just to see what it is actually like to try and navigate all of this and wake up in pain and still function to the best of one's ability to parent and, you know, keep things ticking over with all this chaos above us. It's demoralizing and dehumanizing, to be honest. And I would just ask them, what the hell do you think you're doing, people? What's the game? What's the goal? Because it doesn't seem like it's going to end anywhere that's positive for anyone.
It's always like so obvious to me when you're a liberal and you go, yeah, it's because I care about people. And people are like, oh, I'm conservative, I'm right wing. Fuck those people. That's how it looks to me. Like it's not. It's so black and white in my brain. Like there's no middle ground. It's like if you are right wing, you don't give a shit about anyone but yourself.
If I don't get this help, I may die. Do you promise?
Yeah, it's like it's just like Scrooge when he's asked to give money to the poor, and it's like, are there not poor? Are there not workhouses? Are there not?
Exactly.
Some would rather die than let them bloody die. Yeah, and and it's like,
some of you may die, but that's a risk I am willing to take.
Next, it will be the Hunger Games for Pip, and it's just like the one survivor.
Like
and then even
when
after that, they'll be like,
fiction just become a documentary?
Dude, here it is. Right, Hunger Games from Pip. Right, one person survives. They turn around and go, well, if you can win that, you probably don't need Pip.
Oh, yeah. You don't need Pip. Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Anyway,
oh my God.
Let's have a break.
Yeah, let's take a short break, and when we come back, we'll be discussing how advocacy and discussing in the public is the goal, but fuck me, is it hard to do.
Have you ever felt stuck in patterns that don't serve you? Struggled with stress or wanted to connect more deeply with yourself? Then I have to introduce you to a friend of the podcast, Ashley Bentley of Integrated Coaching, Breathwork and Hypnotherapy. Ashley is a highly experienced clinical hypnotherapist and coach specializing in working with neurodivergent minds. Through a unique blend of integrative coaching, breathwork and hypnotherapy, Ashley helps people rewire subconscious patterns, regulate their nervous systems, step into more empowered versions of themselves. Whether you're dealing with addiction, anxiety, burnout, or struggles with self-acceptance, Ashley offers practical and science-backed tools tailored just for you. Her unique methods combine neuroscience, storytelling, and subconscious transformation to create real, lasting change. Jordan and I can personally attest to the profound and transformative effects of her sessions, which have been life-changing. She does all of these sessions online, meaning she can work with you no matter where you are in the world. If you're ready to break free from old patterns and start living with more clarity, confidence, and connection, go to bit.ly/AshleyNDE to book a free consultation or learn more.
Yes, what a wonderful word from our lucrative sponsors. Thank you so much for joining us once again for the Neurodivergent Experience. We are sat with Ellie Pavone, and of course, Mr. Jordan James is here. He's just vibing, chilling, doing his thing.
I didn't get any money.
Oh, it's all right. We'll sort it. We'll sort it. Do you know what? This is the thing: is nobody did. It's all part of the fun. So we're discussing.
I need more Labubus.
Oh God. We've started something, and if you still don't understand, go listen to the Hot Topics on Friday, guys. It's all part of the fun. So, Ellie, I personally think, as somebody who advocates in a public space, I have to remind myself it's not easy, and it can. I don't like using the word brave, but putting yourself in a public setting when you already feel like a vulnerable person is extremely difficult to do. And there are some days where I battle it myself, even though I do it essentially for a living. What surprised you most about how people, especially like from the media, even like strangers responding in comments, those fuckers, respond to disabled voices, especially when they challenge those stereotypes?
I mean, to say I was surprised is probably not true. I wasn't really surprised by some of it. I was disgusted by a lot of it. It just cemented the feeling I have of the manipulative nature of the press and how we as disabled and minorities of all kinds are being portrayed to the rest of the public to be the problem.
Oh, we're used as cannon fodder for clickbait.
Exactly. And doing what I did and speaking up the way I did was a huge learning curve for me. It was a brilliant experience, but at the same time, I now know better who I can talk to. And yeah, it just cemented what I already knew about how you cannot trust what is on your box in your house, basically. I spoke to the big issue. I spoke to The Guardian, which didn't go forward in the end. But yeah, I spoke to The Guardian, The Big Issue, and ITV, both via phone. And then with ITV, they came and they filmed on the day of the PIP, the welfare cut, 18th March, I think it was. The Liz Kendall speaker. What is it called? House of Commons.
Oh, yes, that thing.
Thing. Yes.
The giant playground where children shout and scream at each other.
It was it was a strange experience to be sat in my own lounge with a camera crew filming me watch the news, which I don't watch really ever. And asking me for my opinion about it, because my opinion was obviously based on what I knew it would then do to my life and the life of so many that I love. And it was horrible, to be honest.
I imagine speaking to people from The Big Issue are going to have a lot more empathy than people from like commercial, TV broadcasting.
Yeah, I wouldn't have any bones about talking to them again. The Isabella McRae was wonderful. The lady that interviewed me for that.
So what was the sort of like difference in their sort of approach? Because as a journalist, I'm really interested to see how they tackled it.
I think because of what they were aiming for with ITV versus what I did with the Big Issue, the Big Issue listened to what I had to say and really just said what I said. What happened with ITV is that they used little snippets of what I'd said, kind of really out of context, told me that they would tell me everything that I'd said. Like, I'd know what was going to be going out before they put it out, but they didn't tell me that. And it just went out. So they focused on things that were really not anything to do with my journey with MS. I don't know, the reaction publicly to that piece of video, I mean, it got about 240,000 views, which was 10 times the amount of all the other clips for that day. And then it got removed with no explanation and no apology. And when I tried to speak to them about it, they didn't really engage, to be honest. And I don't really know that. I think the lady that interviewed me was, I don't really think at fault. I don't think there's a lot of creative control over what goes on past that point. She was great, but she couldn't help me try and find out what happened. I've got copies of what I did, but publicly it's gone because of what was said in the comments. And I think that the press really need to understand that by putting videos like that up on streamable ways, it takes away the impact of what's being said in the interview to then being what is in the comments about the person in the interview, because that's all that took off. That's all that took off with that video is the rhetoric about me being too articulate to be autistic, too pretty to be ill, to the list was ridiculous. It's hardened me to the public's nonsense, sadly, but I feel like I'm a bit better armed in terms of, doing what I want to do with the things that I want to say and the book that I'm writing and the art that I'm creating. It's made that process feel a little bit less scary because I feel like I'm a little bit more prepared now.
Yeah, as somebody who has worked for a company similar to ITV, it shocks me how things hit the cutting room floor. And understanding myself now as a very empathetic, autistic person, looking back at my masked, trying to be neurotypical, not being aware of who I am, not even just like neurologically, but just like in my soul. Like I just felt like I was conflicting my core beliefs so much working in a specific place like that, because I would see presenters on radio shows not believe what they were saying in the meeting, but they were going, but we have to say it because it's company line and it's coming from the top down. So it's almost like the presenters, the person that's interviewing you is just a foot soldier and they're reporting back
absolutely.
to HQ. It's lions led by donkeys, journalists at the moment. And it really shocked me when I heard certain presenters who would be politically centrist and then as soon as they went on air would become the most like vitriolic right-wing sort of rhetoric on opinions. And what used to shock me about it is they didn't believe it, but then they're pushing it on to people to believe. And oh God, the moral battle that I went through was so much that I had to quit.
I can imagine.
I've really tried with this podcast to not be that journalist, to not have that sort of like rhetoric. And because there have been times where like my training and my experience have made me want to do something with this show. And I've had to go, no.
Do you know who I like?
No.
I really like James O'Brien at LBC.
Oh, I know who you mean. Yeah.
Yeah. I've read a couple of his books, actually. He's got a very interesting presenting style. He's different off air from what I've heard.
He reminds me of like a more reserved me. He's just like, you're all a bunch of dicks, but he doesn't say it like that.
Yeah, he has a very his book on presenting, I read during COVID, and it's absolutely fascinating, like how he sets up questions. But that is the sort of the art of the game. It's the I have a goal that I need to get to, and I need to say things to lead you along the way. And a lot of the time, you'll see journalists do it. It's like with kids with video games, you see them lean forward with the controller. You will say something, and they'll go, there's the end of the thread. Let's pick at that and watch you unravel. And there's the story. And that is really difficult when you're dealing with vulnerable people.
Absolutely.
Because you don't realize the collateral damage of when you take the cameras and the lights out of your living room, Ellie, they don't think about what they've left you behind with.
Well, it's like what I said when I reached out. The fallout from after it went out on a kind of local scale was our doorbell camera picking up people walking past and calling me a liar.
Fucking hell.
I just had to just sit there and be like, right, this is going to pass. And it did pass. Like, it's not continued. It's been completely quiet after that 1 week of just feeling really not okay in my own home. But I've had a lot of lovely support since. So it was just that initial kind of like, God, is that how people see people like me? Just from how I've been portrayed, not because of who I am, actually.
That's right. Nigel Farage will send you back where you came from.
Stop the boats. Fuck yeah.
Where were you born?
What? Oh my God.
Yeah. Like if you were foreign, it'd be a million times. It would be from work.
Oh yeah.
Like, you come in our country, taking our PIP.
Oh well, they liked the fact that they picked up on the fact that my surname is Italian, so that was mentioned actually.
Of course it was, because the right wing is so lovely, it's so compassionate, and such a bunch of fucking bastards. But there you go. And if you're listening and you're right wing, fuck you, I guess.
I think there needs to be more people, especially guys, that come out and say this exact stuff, is just get off of the fence, because there's lots of people at the moment that are just sort of sitting going, I don't really know what to say about any of it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like left wing, right wing. I know I said because it exists.
It's all the same bird, isn't it?
It's like me saying, autism, ADHD, and it's like these two things aren't separate in my brain. These are me.
They don't live on different houses on the street.
It's just part of my synaptic pruning. It's the drinking game. Is every time he says synaptic pruning, take a shot.
I'm hammered. I've been drunk for months.
Yeah, just like permanently wasted.
I'm drunk now.
Maybe that's the answer.
And God, yeah.
No. And it's like, it's just politics and it's opinions, and everybody's entitled to their opinion, and I get that. And it's not like, if your opinion is different to mine, you're a bastard. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, if I say we should be kind and compassionate to people because they're humans and they need help, and we should judge people individually, not as a race, not as a religion, not as a creed, not as a sex or a gender. Individually, we can judge people individually. If you then turn around to me and go, no, I hate French people because they're French, I'm sorry. That's not having an opinion. That's not politics. You're a fucking moron.
Yes,
and you need to shut the fuck up, and you don't deserve an opinion in
it's a bit like
this
James
debate.
O'Brien, isn't it?
You don't deserve an opinion in this debate because you're stupid and you can't think past your own ignorance.
Yeah.
And if you honestly think that it's okay to be misogynistic, be rude, be nasty, be venomous to you, Ellie, if people think that that's okay and you deserved it simply because you were trying to put your feelings out there, you were trying to be heard, you were trying to help others. And believe me, from somebody who's constantly making Facebook posts, who tries to help others and then gets attacked by by the way, most people who attack me on Facebook are left wing. That's the real kicker for me. I mostly get attacked by left-wing people who are regressively left, in my opinion, and they attack me for not being left enough. But I still don't. I'm still left. I'm still liberal.
Somebody listening to this screaming, but what about the turtles?
Yeah, what about the turtles? But if people think that it's okay to treat others the way you were treated, that's just shitty.
Well, it's just a horrible indictment of the society we live in, that yeah, like I said, like the content of the actual thing was completely overtaken by the swamped nastiness in the comments.
Yeah, so your message, I look at it, right, is that's exactly what the government want. The government want us fighting each other.
They want us fighting each other so that we don't fight them. Absolutely. Yeah.
Right wing, left wing, whatever your political views, we should really be coming together to fight the system, because it doesn't, at the end of the day, most of the time, that's the point. It doesn't really matter who's in charge. The system doesn't work because the systems won't change. And you need to change that system, and you change that system as a whole, as a community.
It's the power in numbers thing, absolutely, because so many of us
just turning on each other
in our everyday individual lives because of illness and stress and financial strife and relationship problems and all sorts of things. Family breakdowns, there's a lot of that in our generation. So our support networks are not the same as they were. There's no room for growth and healing. It's horrible.
It's almost like we're using rules that don't apply to the context of the situation anymore.
They don't. And do you know what? I think a lot of it is a generational thing, because I don't want to do this, but if the boomers stepped out of the way and let younger generations make decisions, not based on opinions about how we live versus what they're doing at the moment, which is basing everything on a world that doesn't exist anymore. Like Nigel Farage, what you'd said about him mentioning about the family GP. I have not seen the same GP since my son was 3. I've moved house, but every single time I've had to register at a GP, it's been a different one every time I've gone to see them. So there's no continuity of care. There's no trust. There's no being believed. So that little statement in itself is just cuckoo land of a boomer thinking that is the reality for most families. It isn't.
No, of course it's not. It was 35 years ago the last time we had a quote unquote family GP. And his name was Tom. We all knew him. We went to him with my kids. We used to live quite far away, but we'd travel all the way back to where I grew up to go and see him because he was trusted. That was the family GP. It's like the Doc Martin thing, right? Doc Martin. I love that show. That's the fact that does not exist. That's not the current. And the fact that Nigel Farage thinks that exists, and yet people want him to be the prime minister, and they can't see the problem with that. It's like, you don't even know how the NHS works, but you're happy to shit on the NHS and shit on it how it's currently run when you don't know how it's currently run, you absolute geriatric penis.
They just need to get out of the way and let people that are actually have the rest of their lives to live on the planet.
This was fun.
Make the decision.
Fascinating conversation, and I will end with this, Ellie. And I've really loved speaking with you today, and I'm sure a lot of people listening to that's awesome. Well, this is sort of associated with my question. After speaking with us today and your experience with ITV, what would you say to others thinking about going public with their story?
Trust the sources that you're speaking to begin with. And if you are I went into this through the MS Society's call out for people's experiences. That's how this began. So if you are hoping to speak up about a chronic illness or your rights as a disabled person, the first thing I would do is approach a charity that is based around what you have going on and speak to them about it. Since I did this, I've spoken multiple times to the MS Society, and they have changed their procedures for getting members of the public with MS, getting their insight, input, whatever it is, and putting it forward to the press. They've changed it since what happened, which really made me feel quite good to know that what I'd said
should happen with policy. You should change it based off whether the experience works.
And a lot of what they changed is the inclusivity and knowledge of being neurodivergent, changed the communication, that kind of stuff, because that would have really helped had that been a clearer thing. So, but yeah, just brace yourself, because you will always piss someone off, and there will always be people that don't want to listen to you or believe you, but there are millions that do listen and do believe you, and it could be something you say that resonates with someone that makes them think, wait, I am worthy of this help, or I'm worthy of speaking up. My story is worth hearing. That kind of feeling. Yeah,
I agree. It's really well put. So thank you so much for coming on the Neurodivergent Experience and telling us your neurodivergent experience. And I personally, I wish you so much happiness and good vibes, because I don't pray, because there's nothing there.
That you know of.
Yeah, no, I know that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yes. Well, thank you for that, Ellie. And if you've enjoyed this episode, please tune in. And we want to hear from you. Reach out to us. Go on Jordan's Facebook page, Jordan James, the autistic photographer.
No one's following me after this. Everyone's fed up.
But one of the things that I always remember from working in journalism is, if you don't hear the other side of the story, how do you know where you stand within it? So hear people you disagree with, listen to people you agree with, see where you stand, see where you feel, and don't be afraid to stand up for what you believe in. So thank you so much. We will be back tomorrow with a hot topic. We don't know what it is yet, so have fun with that.
No, we do know what it is.
Do we? Oh yeah, go on then. Well, go on then. Get your notes out.
Labubu's.
Oh, not again. Return of the Labubu's.
No, it's we don't know what tomorrow's hot topic is. Bye.
So tune in for that. Bye, everybody. Bye. Thanks for tuning in to the Neurodivergent Experience. We hope today's episode sparked something for you, whether it's a new idea, a bit of validation, or just a moment of connection. Remember, new episodes are every week, so be sure to join us for the next one for more conversations and insights into the neurodivergent experience. If you've enjoyed this podcast, help us grow. You can do that by rating and reviewing this show. Your support makes a huge difference in helping us reach more people who could benefit from these conversations. You can connect with us on social media. Find us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. Just search for the Neurodivergent Experience. Thank you again for listening, and until next time, take care of yourself. You're not alone in this journey.